You're listening to Straight Outta Stratford 203 with Zach and Julian, the best sports podcast in Connecticut. Sit back and enjoy the ride in 3, 2, 1.
Straight Outta Stratford, slinging takes like Stafford, talking all the big games, have a beer right after. When it comes to the facts and the stats we provide, better know that our names will be up in the rafters.
What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the Straight Outta Stratford podcast, episode number 15. I'm your host, Zach, along with my co-host,
Julian. What's going on?
And we saw quite the past week of sports. You know, we just had the MLB season officially come to an end, at least for the regular season. Postseason finally has started.
Yep.
You know how I'm probably feeling about that, and I know how you're feeling about it. We also did see some crazy stuff with college football last week, as well as the NFL Week 4 concluding. NFL Week 5 is officially upon us as well. A lot of crazy things going on in basically all facets of sports right now, and plus you also have hockey and basketball starting in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah.
So we're going to have a little bit more stuff to talk about at some point down the road, probably very shortly, but at least for this week, you know, it's just a couple topics that we're really going to cover today. But we are going to start out, obviously, with the MLB now that we are officially at the end of the regular season and into the postseason. So for me, my season is over. The New York Mets were officially eliminated from playoff contention on Sunday, and it was definitely disappointing to say the least.
Because all they had to do was win the game.
All they had to do was win some games. And
that too, but...
Well, what I said on the podcast that one day was win 3 games. If you win 3 games, you control your destiny, you're in the playoffs, you didn't even have to worry about what else happened.
They just had to win 1 game.
But that was at the end. But
yeah.
That's because they did lose game 1 to the Miami Marlins.
They lost game 1 to the Marlins. They won game 2.
And then they lost.
And then, because Cincinnati lost on Sunday.
Yeah, but if they would have won all 3 of those games, it wouldn't even matter.
No, I understand.
But
what I'm saying is, like, on Sunday, all they had to do was win.
Yep, they did. And like we just said, you know, they came out game 1 against the Marlins, and I know obviously that's a division rival, and they were already eliminated from playoff contention before that series started. I apologize. And they actually moved Sandy Alcantara back a game so that he would be facing off the Mets in game 1 of the series. That ended up going very well in their favor. They ended up beating the Mets that game. Very, very rough to watch. Then they came out and bounced back in game 2, and people thought, you know, now it comes down to game 3 of the series. You know, you need Cincinnati to lose to Milwaukee. Milwaukee was really playing with a purpose. You know, they were going for their franchise record of 97 wins in a season. That would be their most ever. So, you know that they were going to come out and try and play to win. They started all their starters. They had Freddie Peralta on the mound, and he actually pitched very well for them. And they did end up beating the Reds that game and becoming the franchise record for the best team that the Brewers have ever had. And all the Mets needed to do was come out and win that game, knowing that Cincinnati lost. And not only did they lose, they got shut out. They lost 4-0. So now we sit here with no postseason after being the best team in baseball on June 12th. You finished the season 39-55, one of the worst records in baseball to close the year out. And you missed the playoffs with I believe, the second highest payroll in baseball this season. And like I said, as a Mets fan, I don't know where they really go from here. There's going to be a lot of moving pieces, I believe.
I saw that they were looking into getting rid of, what's his name? Mendoza.
I got reports from one of the guys that's a New York Mets reporter. He ended up saying that the Mets do not have intentions to move off of Carlos Mendoza as of right now. I'm hoping that'll change. Like I've said multiple times on this podcast and to my friends, I'm not a big fan of his. I never have been.
One thing I will say, right, is that you look at Steve Cohen's blueprint, and it's different from other executives and like owners and like teams, because he came out and realized that the team he put together, the expectations and what his expectations weren't met.
No, they were not.
So he came out and he went. Was it on Facebook or was it on?
It was on X. He came out
on Twitter. Twitter.
Okay, that's fine.
Twitter.
I'm just saying it's called X.
Yeah, I understand what it's called, but it's still Twitter.
I know.
I don't know one single person that says, "Oh, did you see what was posted on X?"
I know. I'm just trying to be
No,
professional.
I know you're trying to be professional, but what I'm saying is, he came out and he released a formal apology saying that I understand that the team that I put together was not as good as what they were supposed to be on paper.
Actually,
and
I'd love to find the actual post. You're right. I didn't want to cut you off. I'm curious to see what
and
the
that
actual post was.
the fans expected much more and they didn't produce out of him. Like, if your manager comes out and says that, you know that his blueprint is different than.
Yeah, so I have the post officially. The post says, Mets fans everywhere, I owe you an apology. You did your part by showing up and supporting the team. We didn't do our part. We will do a post-mortem and figure out the obvious and less obvious reasons why the team didn't perform up to your and my expectations. We're all feeling raw emotions today. I know how much time and effort you have put into this team. The result was unacceptable. Your emotions tell me how much you care and continues to motivate the organization to do better. Thank you to the best fans in sports. Now, I appreciate Steve Cohen for at least releasing that because I know that he's a Mets fan as well. It's not just that he bought the team and he's an owner. He's been a Mets fan even before he was an owner of the team. And he wants to see them win another championship since the last one they had was 86.
I think that is different than most of the other front offices' blueprint because, right, like I'm saying this because I'm a Yankee fan, for example. George Steinbrenner, his blueprint was spend big bucks, get rewarded, take risks, you win championships. Hal's blueprint, sell out the stadium, pack every seat, win enough games to get to the playoffs.
Make money, yeah.
Make money, have 2 or 3, maybe 4 big-name players on your team, but you don't see them going out there and doing what I'm going to say this. If Steinbrenner's father, George, was still alive,
He'd be rolling right now.
he'd be rolling right now. He's probably rolling right now as it is.
Yeah. I know a lot of Yankee fans have
Last
voiced that
year,
before.
they would have won the World Series because they would have had a better roster than what they had. They would have had somebody else besides Verdugo in left field. Somebody else besides Rizzo at first.
Well, I liked Rizzo.
No, yeah, I'm not saying Rizzo was bad, but what I'm saying is they would have made that deal at the deadline. If Steinbrenner Sr. was alive, I'm pretty sure Schlittler wouldn't have been up this season because he would have been on a different team.
He probably would have been.
What they do is they prospect talk. Spencer Jones would have been gone.
Probably, yeah.
They would have kept Soto in the offseason.
I'm curious to if even George Lombard Jr. would have been part of the organization as well. I wouldn't be
They would
surprised
have-
if they moved him too.
Because George Steinbrenner was more favoritive towards players that were already good.
Well,
not players that were like, because there are some players that were in the organization that they kept, obviously,
Of course.
but there were others like Andy Pettitte, George Steinbrenner. Like, people don't realize that he got traded to Houston. He wasn't a Yankee for his entire career.
No, that's correct. But
He got traded to Houston.
the way I'd put it, though, to be honest with you, is I think that Hal looks at it more as we need stuff for
business.
the future and it's a business. Rather, his father was more like we need to win now. Now
Yeah,
is the time to
That's
win.
what I think. I think that Hal's like, oh, I have the money, but I'm not going to spend it.
Yeah, because, we could spend it down the road. We're not there yet. Whereas
You are
your
there yet, though.
Yeah, I know they are.
They are. They have Judge. They have Cole. You gave Free $200 million. Rodon looks
Stanton.
solid. You have Stanton.
Chisholm.
Exactly. Bellinger. What they don't understand, right, is that their window is closing, and it's closing very, very fast.
Very quick.
As to where the Mets, their window is open, is it's not closing, but it's not opening.
No. It's stuck in one
It's
spot.
stuck in one spot.
Which is shocking
But the
to say,
talent
but-
that the Mets have is arguably just as good as the talent that the Yankees have.
I agree with that. And
There's no hate for me forced on the Mets, like, well, at the times there is, but genuinely, I just want to see a New York sports team succeed.
I say the same thing all the time.
The last time a New York sports team won a championship was when the Rangers won the Stanley Cup like a while ago, right?
Nope. The last one to win was, well, I mean, are you talking about all sports? Because if it's all sports, it's the New York
Yeah.
Giants who won the Super Bowl. That was the last one. Because the Yankees won in 2009.
Yeah.
The Giants won in what? I think it was 2012.
Yeah. The Rangers didn't.
Rangers were in the Stanley Cup in 2015 or 14, but they did not win. They lost to the LA Kings that year. The Rangers haven't had a Stanley Cup win since 1994. So the last New York sports team, well, technically,
WNBA isn't a sport.
Well, oh, okay.
Well, and that's not a sport, but like,
Hey,
I'm not
whoa,
saying it's not a sport. Like,
It is.
obviously WNBA is a sport, but
it's not in the
It's not-
regarded viewership.
it's not-
I see what
yeah.
you're saying, but not the best way to say that.
no offense to WNBA fans, but when you think of New York sports, you think of 8 teams roughly: Yankees,
yeah.
Mets, Knicks, Nets, Islanders,
Jets.
Rangers, Jets, Giants. 8 teams.
Yeah, 2 teams from each. Yeah.
Yeah.
Rangers, Islanders, Yankees, Mets, Knicks, Nets. Even though the Nets I wouldn't even really count. And then who else am I missing? Oh yeah, and then Jets and Giants. That's
Bills.
8. Yeah, but they don't. I mean, they are a New York team, but they don't really count either because everyone. When you think of New York teams, everyone thinks of Giants, Jets. I get the point. Yes, technically Buffalo is because then you could say the same thing about the Buffalo Sabres as well too. So technically it's like 10. But I know what you were saying. It's just maybe not the best way to say it there because it is a sport. It's just it's not the viewership. It's not highly regarded as like a big time sport that people follow in comparison to like the Yankees or the Rangers. The fan bases for all of the New York sports teams, especially when it comes to at least male sports, it's way out of proportion.
Yeah.
We get that. But at least there hasn't been anybody that's won anything since 2012. And
Well,
even
I wasn't positive about that.
well, yeah, but even me, I feel kind of the same way about it. Although I am a Mets fan, I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, I hope the Yankees lose. I know that there's a lot of Met fans out there that I've even talked to that have all said, oh, I'd rather root for Boston over the Yankees. And I sit there and I'm kind of just like, I get it because of the whole bitterness as of more recent, but
But you think about it, New York is supposed to be one of the sports capitals of the country.
100%.
And the fact that they haven't won a championship in over 10 years,
13 years
13
now.
years, that's not
I know.
acceptable.
It's not acceptable at all. But at least for me, what I'm saying is,
Well, hold on.
a lot of fans, at least, like you, I know you like the Yankees, but you don't despise the Mets. You would
No.
much rather despise the Red Sox. I'm the same
Yeah.
way. I'm a Mets fan, but if it comes down to Yankees and Red Sox, I'm going to root for the Yankees. I mean, I've been to more Yankee games in my life than I've been to Met games in my life.
Like last year, I'm not going to lie, I kind of wanted the Mets to make the World Series over the Dodgers because that would have been cool to see.
That would have been awesome to see. It would have been great for New York.
One thing I will say is that, I mean, I may get slack from this just because I'm a Yankee fan and people may say I'm biased, but 2017, if the Astros didn't cheat, there's a chance they could have won.
I could have had a feeling it was going to go there. Yeah, listen, we could do if and buts were candies and nuts, then every day would be Christmas. Okay, so
No, I know, but still.
you're right. I know it was a very bad look for the MLB, and it technically could have gone for the Yankees as well too. But at the same time, if we look back on history, it ended up not happening. But you're right. I know. I get what you're saying. At least though for the
I'm
Mets,
not going to get started on that.
no, don't, because I know you'll get riled up. But at least for back to the Mets' sake, you guys at least made the playoffs.
Barely. Well, not barely, but
You made the playoffs.
yeah.
That's the more important thing, is at least you give yourself a shot. But
We
now,
won 94 games, I believe.
you were 94 and 68, and you
94
tied
and
with the Blue
68.
Jays. But at least in regards to what I was saying about the Mets is, I know you mentioned that the window is still open, but it's not really opening. It's not also closing either. That may change because I've heard a lot of different things about where this organization may go as a whole. You know, you have multiple players that are coming up with like free agency. I know that they already asked Pete Alonso and Edwin Diaz if they were going to opt out of their deals and enter the free agent market, which Pete Alonso answered instantly and said yes.
That's one thing I don't understand, right? I get that Alonso didn't get the contract he wanted last offseason. It's obvious.
Yeah, he got lowballed.
But if you want to stay with the Mets, because he said, yeah, I'm going to opt out of my contract, but I'll stay here if they want. I'd love to stay here if they would have me. If you're going to say something like that, just suck it up. You don't need to make an extra $100-something million when, well, I'm saying this like it's not it is probably life-changing money, but still, if you like the team that you're on and where you are,
You take less money.
you take less money to be there.
I agree, but that's why I respected Edwin Diaz's response, because they asked him and he said, I'm not really focused on that right now. I'm going to talk with my family and my friends and kind of take some time to really figure out my decision. I love being a New York Met. I love the respect that I get from the fans and how much they appreciate me, and I appreciate them, but I'm going to sit here and wait a little bit before I do. Alonso, it was much different because the minute they asked him, there was no hesitation, and he was speaking a lot in the past tense, saying, I loved being a New York Met. I loved the fans. That makes it seem like, to me,
he's going to leave.
He's going to want to leave. And obviously, there's one side of me that's the Mets fan that has loved having Pete Alonso on this team. I really hope he does stay. But there's that other side of me that sees that, he has his moments where he's very, very good. He's had his moments where he comes in clutch, especially when it came to last year against the Milwaukee Brewers, hitting that 3-run home run off of Devin Williams.
He broke Devin Williams.
He broke him. But other than that, he had a lot of other opportunities where he did not come in clutch. You could also debate that the season kind of went a little bit down the tubes because Alonso's bad throw that ended up causing Kodai Senga to get hurt. That was June 12th or 13th, I believe. And ever since that moment, the Mets' downfall just plummeted. So it's tough for me to sit here and say that I hope Alonso leaves. I don't want to be like that. But at the same time, I want him for the right money. I don't want to overpay him. We already have Soto making $765 million. I don't want to pay Pete Alonso $350 million to be a part of the New York Mets. You could do what the Yankees did and go out and sign 3 guys for similar amounts of money combined and build yourself a solid roster. And that's what's going to end up winning you some more games.
Now, I was talking about this with a couple of my cousins that are Mets fans, right? Looking back at the Mets season, which approach would you have taken? Because obviously, it ultimately came down for 2 teams for Soto, right?
Yeah.
The Yankees or Mets. The Yankees gave him an offer. He decided to go sign with the Mets. That's whatever. I don't really care anymore. They were saying that what the Yankees did benefited them more for what they needed than what would have happened if they had signed Soto. So they said if we had went out there and we would have given Max Fried the $200 million and we would have brought in whoever else the Yankees brought in for pitching, they said that might have been a smarter move for the Mets to make at the time. Mm-hmm. But at the time, they didn't know that their pitching staff was going to be horrendous.
Well, yeah, I agree with that too. And like I said, I think that it's genuinely a better approach that the Yankees took too, because looking back on the way that the season kind of unraveled towards the end of the year, a lot of it came from pitching. You lose Griffin Canning, unfortunately, to an Achilles injury. That's not his fault. He actually pitched fairly well, a lot better than I had expected when they first signed him. I had a bad feeling about the whole Frankie Montas experiment. I knew that was not going to go well because you saw it coming.
I told you Clay Holmes was going to suck too.
Well, Clay, to be honest with you, I know that I was a little bit harsh on Clay Holmes at points as well. The way he started the year was very good, and the way that he actually finished the year was very solid as well. The only problem was, as the season kind of kept going along and the Mets were losing guys, especially like Tyler McGill, and like I said, Frankie Montas goes down, he ends up having to take on a role that he was not expected to take on when the year first started.
When I will say that, if you put Clay Holmes in a high leverage role in a close game, he is not going to close that game for you.
Of course, but if he's the 4 or 5...
If you put him as a 4 or 5, exactly.
And that's what he was supposed to be when he first came in. And it showed. And then, like I said, you see David Peterson start the year off extremely well. He makes the All-Star game. He looks like this guy's going to be your ace, and then falls apart at the end of the year.
Exactly. Going back to the Clay Holmes thing, I'm never going to forget this. This was the day after 4th of July, 2 summers ago. I went to the Yankees-Red Sox game with 3 of my friends, and the Yankees were winning, I believe, 5-3. going into the bottom of the 9th inning.
Clay Holmes blew.
They brought out Clay Holmes, and he had runners on first and second or second and third with 2 outs, a 3-2 count on Yoshida, and proceeds to throw the ball. I don't know where I think it was right over the middle of the plate.
And it got blasted, didn't it?
And it was a 3-run home run, which led to... No, they were winning 5-2.
It was a tie game?
And it was 5-2. And then they were 1 strike away. I was taking a video of the final pitch.
Yeah, to send to your
And
buddies.
No, they were with me. I was with them.
Oh, you were with the Red Sox?
I was with my buddies, yeah.
Oh, even better.
I know. I was taking a video, right? And the second I see the pitch thrown out of his hand, I see the bat swing, you hear me like scream. You hear me like, game, and then you hear the crack, and then I don't have the video anymore. It's gone.
I would have deleted it as well, so I would.
Because I started tracking the ball. I started tracking the ball, right?
Mm-hmm. And it was a bomb.
And once I saw it was over, Judge said, I just screamed. I'm not gonna say what I screamed because
I could have. I think everybody can guess what you screamed.
And I stopped the video, and because I was sitting with one of my friends. 2 of them were in a different section because we couldn't get 4 seats together because we got the tickets last second, or they ordered theirs. They got theirs before.
And you guys got yours later.
Didn't realize that I wasn't going to. I said I had a wedding. I didn't realize it was the day. I didn't realize it was the day after that.
Mm-hmm.
So they didn't ask me. But then they were like, "Well, whatever." I still went. I ran over to their section, and they just started screaming at me. I took one of my friend's hats and I ran.
Yeah.
And then I ran back. He goes, "Why'd you do that?" I'm like, "Oh, I don't know. I'm just pissed."
Yeah,
Like,
well, clearly I would have been pissed too. But but at least with like what I was saying before too, because I do kind of want to transition to the Yankees at some point. I don't want to talk about the Mets for too long, otherwise it's going to drive me nuts here.
Keep talking about the Mets.
Of course, thanks for wanting to do that. But there's 3 things that I kind of can see happening. I know we were already talking about Alonso and Diaz, but that's something that I will bring up very briefly. At least for me, the number one thing I think that they're going to end up doing, especially since there have been reports that they're not firing Mendoza, is they're probably going to end up getting rid of a couple coaches on their coaching staff, whether that be guys like Danny Barnes, who was their strategy coach, or Jeremy Barnes and Eric Chavez, who are both hitting coaches, Mike Sarbaugh, the third base coach, Jose Rosado, who's their bullpen coach. I mean, there's a couple guys that they're probably going to end up letting go from that group. I think it's a smart thing to do, especially with the way that I wouldn't really blame the hitting as much. In some sense, it was more pitching than it was hitting, but there definitely were moments where the hitting needed to be better, and I feel like the hitting coaches and batting coaches are at fault. A lot of mistakes rounding third base where you either hold the guy when he could have scored or, you're sending a guy when he's completely dead at the plate. That's another big issue that cost them in a couple of games this year as well, so I wouldn't be surprised if that's the end for Mike Sarbaugh. The bullpen coach, Jose Rosado, I don't even have to say anything. The bullpen was absolutely atrocious the second half of the year, even after getting several guys like Helsley and Gregory Soto and Rogers. It just did not work for them, so I wouldn't be surprised if those guys end up going. Now, the one thing that I do want to say about that, though, is obviously you're going to get rid of some coaches here. One change that I'd love to see is maybe David Stearns not having as much of a leash over what he's allowed to do. I think that there needs to be a step back there because I feel like he kind of controls everything, and it's based a lot off analytics. And I've talked with dozens.
I'm saying this right now. Analytics is ruining not just baseball, but
every
sports
sport
in general.
Yeah, but that's where I was heading with it.
And I will speak upon this when we talk about the Yankees because I have a little, not like a rant.
I have a feeling I know what that's going to end up entailing. But like you were just saying with the
analytics is ruining sports. And many athletes have come out and said it. And some analysts have come out and said it. I know I have family members that have come out and said it. The numbers game only works so much. It's ruining like You look at last season, right? Numbers game. Numbers said the best pitcher to throw out there against Freddie Freeman was Nestor Cortez. No. You had Tim Hill in the bullpen. Game 2. It was either game 2 or game 3, whatever, one of them. You have Tim Hill versus Freddie Freeman. He gets Freddie Freeman to pop up.
And that's all you needed from that one game.
Exactly. That's all we needed was one more out.
Yep.
And you don't bring in Tim Hill, you bring in Cortez.
But
analytics is ruining the game.
It is. I had a guy that I was just about to say that I spoke to yesterday. We were talking about the Yankees postseason games, at least game 1. And when we were talking about it, he said, quote unquote, the exact same thing that you just said, word for word. Goes, analytics is ruining every single sport. And it used to be more about the eye test. Are you a good athlete? Are you not? Is this guy clutch? Is he not? Now
exactly.
He's batting, 315 against left-handed pitchers after the 8th inning. That means
it doesn't
nothing.
Matter.
What matters is the moment that you are currently in, not what happened in the past.
Exactly.
Who's the guy that you have the faith in right now to come up and do their job? And that's where analytics has kind of ruined it because they said, well, statistically, this guy does the job this amount of times. I don't want him for this amount of times. I want him for one time. One. And that's a big problem. Now,
literally, it didn't have to, Boone last year, right? Analytics said Cortez was better in that spot. You bring in Tim Hill to face Freeman, and you take him out the next inning. You don't have to pitch him again.
Yeah, and I think that was before the rules changed where a pitcher has to see at least 3 batters.
No, it was after.
No, that's what I'm saying. It was because that was last season. The rules, I believe, changed before the start of this season that they have to face at least 3 batters.
That's been a rule for 3 or 4 seasons.
Has it?
Yeah.
I feel like it hasn't.
No, it has.
Maybe I'm crazy.
It
or
has.
I'm just missing something.
I think it might have been 2021 or 2022 because they were sick and tired of managers bringing in a pitcher to face 1 batter and then taking him out after.
Which they should have never changed because I like that move anyway, to be completely honest with you. If it's the matchup is there and you feel that guy is the best against that guy.
I feel like after that rule switched is kind of when analytics started taking over more.
A little bit.
Because right then and there you had the eye test, right? You're like, oh, this guy isn't great against lefties. Who's the best lefty we have? Let's put him in for one batter, and then we see what happens, right?
That's the way that it should work every time. And I don't know why a lot of coaches don't do that, but obviously we know is because it's analytics as well. Now, another thing for the New York Mets that I could see possibly changing, going back to them, is I think, to be honest with you, like I already said, I think Alonso is probably gone. And I also think that either one of 2 guys from that team gets moved. I'm leaning more towards Jeff McNeil getting moved just because of how many guys they already have in the infield that play the same spot. You got Brett Beatty. You have Mark Vientos. Well, Mark Vientos isn't a second baseman, but you have Brett Beatty. You have Ronnie Mauricio. You have Mark Vientos, who's a young talent, and you have Luis Angel Acuna. So there's multiple guys that are young, that are a little bit cheaper than Jeff McNeil is right now, that you're probably able to put at that position, and they're going to be sufficient enough. So I would not be surprised if it may be his tenure that ends up being over, but there is one other name that I was kind of on the fence with, and that's Brandon Nimmo. And the only reason why I say Nimmo is because he still was productive. He's been productive. I've always liked Nimmo. I know he's a fan favorite for a lot of people. Not, above guys like Lindor or Soto or Alonso, but at least a lot of Met fans love his attitude, love his effort, love his skill level because he is a good player. But there are a lot of teams that could probably be a little bit more beneficial for him because they do have to make some changes to their core or their Fab Four, as they love to call it. So I wouldn't be surprised if either McNeil or Nimmo ends up getting moved as well. But if they, obviously if it's McNeil, then Nimmo stays. If it's Nimmo, then I think McNeil stays. But then I'm really hoping at least the third thing that they do is you retain Edwin Diaz. I know that's going to sound crazy. I know that he's paid a lot of money now. The guy, when he is on, which is a lot, he's the best closer in baseball right now. There's not many other people that could come in and do what he does. Now, granted, he gave me a couple heart attacks throughout the year because he loves to load the bases up or put runners in scoring position, and then he comes in and says, oh, well, I just needed to change my cleats, changes his cleats, and then goes 1, 2, 3 like nothing ever happened. So I'd really love to keep Edwin Diaz. I think that he's a crucial part of this team. The only reason why I feel like they may, if they do decide to move off of him, is because he didn't really get many save opportunities this year because they blew games from earlier guys in their bullpen, and you're not going to throw him out there when you're losing. You're going to throw him out there when you're winning, and you need to secure the win. But I really hope that they do end up keeping him. I don't know how much money he's going to want, because obviously now he's going to end up opting out of his contract, I'm assuming. So that means that they're going to have to make another offer, or he will test the free agent market. So I'm curious to see where the Mets kind of go from here. Obviously, like I said, it was a very disappointing way to see the season end the way that it did. But I know that also as a Mets fan, and I think a lot of us can all relate here, thank God the season is over, because the last couple of months were absolute torture. It was hard to watch, and you kind of just wanted it all to kind of be done with, and so you could focus on doing other stuff and watching other sports teams of yours, especially like football. Like I mentioned, basketball and hockey are coming up. The hockey preseason already started, so there's a lot of other things to watch.
Starts tonight.
Yeah, it does start tonight. So, I mean, like I said, there's a lot of other things that you can do, and I think we all kind of knew that if the Mets did make it, we saw what happened to the Cincinnati Reds going up against the Dodgers. I'm assuming it probably would have been the same fate. So it sucks to see it go that way, but again, I just hope that this team finds the right path to go down to rebound and, get themselves back to where they were in 2024. At least for the Yankees, though, you guys did make the playoffs, like we mentioned earlier in the show.
They did not. They failed to win the division.
I mean, they did fail to win the division, but they had the same record. It just came down to a tiebreaker. So it's tough to see that. Obviously, if you would have beaten Toronto multiple times more during the year, you'd be in a different spot. But granted, you at least made the playoffs as the wild card one. Now you guys...
Or if we didn't, lose a few games that we should have won.
Of course. Well, hey, you could say the same thing about the Mets, too. There were a couple games that we lost that we should have won as well. But at least you guys made it, and now
I'm talking about one game in particular.
And...
That is the first game in the series against the Marlins.
Oh,
I think we were up by like 7 or 8.
Yeah.
Like we were up by a lot, 7 or 8 runs, and we lost. I believe
Marlins messed up both of our seasons.
I believe it was like 12-11 or like 14 to like it was bad.
Yeah, that was the super high scoring.
That was bad. Like really, really
I think that game
bad.
ended, 14-13 or 13-12? That was, that can't happen. And it was because your bullpen collapsed. I think you guys were winning by like 4 runs at one point in the game and just...
No, we were winning by way more than 4, I think.
No, but I'm saying late in the game. I think it got cut to 4, and it was like, okay, this is still sustainable. We could still win this game, and they found a way to not win.
Yeah, I think somebody hit a grand slam or something.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if it was even Kyle Stowers, the guy that we were kind of
Kyle Stowers did hit a grand slam. It was Kyle Stowers.
I was about to say, of course, because we were crapping on him earlier in the year when they announced the All-Star team and he made it, and I'm sitting there saying, you couldn't have put Juan Soto or you couldn't have put this guy. Well, and sure enough, it's like, ooh, karma.
They went to face the Red Sox in a best-of-3 series in the wild card, and Game 1 you have them losing 3-1. And there's a few decisions that Boone made that I don't like.
I wasn't a fan either, I don't think.
And I'm just going to say it. I am pretty sure it was analytics-based.
Probably was.
You have 2 aces going head toe-to-toe.
Fried versus
Crochet.
Which they both
pitched phenomenally. Fried went 6 1/3, 4 hits, 3 walks, 6 strikeouts. Did not allow a single run. Crochet went 7 2/3, 4 hits, 11 strikeouts, 1 run, which came on a Anthony Volpe home run.
What a shot!
What a shock!
Listen, I'm gonna cut you off here. If you took Anthony Volpe anytime home run during that game off of Crochet, please, dear God, like send me the lottery numbers or do something. There is no way you could have just easily predicted that.
I will say this: if there's one time where you want to figure out how to play baseball and figure out and get back to doing
I don't get it, man.
Being productive, October is the time to figure that out, because in October you need all the help you can get.
I just when I saw that, I was like, you got to be kidding me. Out of everybody on the team, it wasn't Judge, wasn't Stanton,
Wasn't Grisham. Wasn't Bellinger.
No, wasn't Bonds. Yeah, it wasn't Trent Bonds. No, it's Anthony frickin' Volpe hitting a home run off of Garrett Crochet.
I think he had 2 or 3 hits off of Crochet. Might have been 2.
Well, he's like I said, we talked about it before. I think if I'm not mistaken, he's currently batting .429 after the first 2 games. I believe he had 2 hits off of Crochet and 1 hit last night.
That sounds about right.
But of course, the first game, the home run off of Crochet. I'm telling you, when I sat there and saw this man go oppo taco on Garrett Crochet, I said, there is no way in hell that just happened. I couldn't believe it. Of all guys, we could rumble through the whole list. It could have been anybody else.
All right. So the first thing that I don't agree with Boone, right, is Max Fried was dealing. I think he had 100 pitches.
102. Yeah.
102 when he got taken out. He had 6 in the 3rd innings pitched. It's a wild card series. I get you're trying to save him for the next round if they make it, but they have to make it first. I would have left him out there. I would have let him finish the 6th.
I agree with that.
And if he had under 108 pitches, I would have sent him back out there to start the 7th.
Yeah. Well, that's what they did with Crochet.
That's what Boston did with Crochet, because Crochet was practically unhittable except for Volpe, and Fried didn't give up a single run. Then you take out Fried, and instead of going to a guy you can rely on, right? Like
Fernando
you put,
Cruz?
Like Fernando. Well, they did put him in later on in the inning.
Yeah, too little, too late though.
Yeah, very late. You're up 1-0 going into the top of the 6th, right? You have
or top of the 7th.
No, it was
because he went 6 in the 3rd, which means that he completed.
top of the 7th.
Top of the 7th.
You let him finish the 7th. You bring in Luke Weaver, who's been struggling. Don't laugh. He's going to be a future Met. Do not laugh.
He better not. Listen, if he's a future Met...
he's going to be a future Met. Don't laugh.
No, he will not. How dare you? Okay, continue. Yeah, he's not going to be a future Met, though.
You bring in Luke Weaver, who's been struggling as of late. And he just couldn't figure out what to do. Like, he just couldn't figure out his stuff, you know? And he winds up giving a 2-run double up to Yoshida. Then you bring in... After that, they brought in Fernando Cruz. He finished off the inning. 8th inning comes around. You bring in Devin Williams. Williams looked solid.
Better than regular season, yeah.
And then you bring in Bednar in the 9th. I don't know why right away they just don't bring Cruz in, right? You have Tim Hill in your bullpen. You haven't used Camilo Doval
at all, basically.
At all. It makes no sense.
Yeah, trust me. We talked about this too. Why no Ben Rice?
Then, right? You're in the bottom of the 8th. Is it 8th or no? Bottom of the 7th, and you have Volpe on second with, I believe, 2 outs, and you have Austin Wells behind the plate up at bat. I understand you don't want Ben Rice throwing batters out on the base path from behind the plate. But this might have been the only decision not analytics-based that Boone made. Because statistically, throughout the season with runners in scoring position, Ben Rice has been amazing. He hits the ball just as hard as any Judge or Stanton can. The ball flies off of his bat.
Oh, big time.
He's going to be a stud. He has the potential to be. Ben Rice wasn't played in game 1. Not when you had a runner on second in the 7th, which could have tied the game. Not in the 8th, when you had a runner on first, I think. And to go into the 9th inning, you have Goldschmidt who gets a base hit right off the bat. They're needing 2 runs because Bednar gave up 1 in the top of the 9th.
Yeah.
Knowing you have Rice on the bench and knowing that Stanton is coming up, you could have put, well, I don't know if this would make sense. Now I'm thinking about it, but you could have put Dominguez, right? Yeah, this will still work. You could have put Dominguez on first base for Goldschmidt, right? Judge gets a base hit. Then you have Bellinger with a single. Dominguez would have scored from second on Bellinger's single.
Yep.
Then you have
very high.
Then you have Stanton coming up, who has done nothing all night. Could have put Ben Rice right up at the plate for Stanton.
That would have been very ballsy, though, especially with Stanton's past in the playoffs. I get it, but that's a big risk.
It's a struggle. No, he is struggling. Stanton was you needed to win that first game.
That's true, but again, he can.
Yeah, I understand, but you had bases loaded, no outs. I mean, I thought that at bat was going to end in a home run, but it didn't.
Nope.
Then you have, because then you could have put Dominguez in the outfield and Bellinger at first.
Yeah, you could have done that.
If you put Rice. Then, in the bottom of the 8th, you have Chisholm coming in for Rosario at second.
He should have started.
He should have started number 1, number 2, but if you think about it, right, they should have just left Rosario in. Like, Boone came out and said that mistake game 1 was not leaving Rosario. Rosario probably would have got a base hit in the top of the 9th.
Well, see, but that's where the roles should have been reversed. Is Jazz should have started, and then if it got to that same exact point, then you take Jazz out and you put Rosario in and say he's probably better off with Chapman right now than Jazz would be. That's the way that they should have done it.
You know what? I 100% agree.
And I thought that was stupid. Trust me, I watched the whole game. And as a Mets fan even, I feel your frustration.
No, I understand. And then you have, it makes no sense.
Nothing he does makes any sense.
I understand, right, Caballero's fast, great, whatever, but you need solid defense at third. You got to have McMahon playing.
Trust me, like I said, I did not make much sense of it.
And then they lose the game 3-1. And then you look at game 2, right? It's a game you got to have. They have to win.
And he finally made the decision.
Bellinger hits a single. And the first pitch Rice sees ends up in the seats.
That's kind of what I was going off
of.
Of.
Why wasn't he? I get you don't want to start him game 1 because he hasn't played in the postseason.
I don't care.
I don't care. Exactly. You don't bring him in for Wells. When there's a runner on second, you have to do that. It doesn't matter. You have to do something about that.
Well, especially since he was hot down the stretch too.
Ben Rice is hot down the. You look at not last weekend, but the week he hit a grand slam in extra innings against Baltimore.
I know. Trust me.
Exactly. He's been hot down the stretch, and I get it's October. I get if he's hot. He has to play.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. I was saying that the whole time.
Game 2, they won 4. Wait, was it 4-3?
4-3.
They won 4-3. Sorry, I'm just really tired.
Nah, I know you had a long day. So
I did 4-3. But Ben Rice had a 2-run home run.
First inning.
First pitch. He's I believe he's on a very, very elite list of players who've hit a home run on their first pitch they've seen in the postseason.
Yeah, first career home run in the postseason coming off the first at bat. I don't know.
No, it was the first pitch.
Well, it's the first pitch. I don't know if any. I can't tell you the stats on that. I don't know how many people have ever done that. There's fairly.
I think there's a decent amount.
Now, I will touch on one thing too, though. Is even Rodon. He pitched okay, but sitting there as a fan of, obviously, everyone knows the Mets, but sitting there watching as a fan of baseball and seeing him load up the bases was terrifying. I'm sitting there going, oh my God, this cannot happen this early in the game. You need to get out of this with very limited damage. And thank God they did, but it was already, they retied the game back up because of a bad throw. I don't know what that throw was to first base that they had on that sack bunt, and he threw it like a cricket pitch, bouncing it, and Jazz took his foot off the bag, I believe. He went to go cover first and just pulled his foot off the bag. Obviously, it's not Jazz's fault because he's not a first baseman, but just that play overall was I had so many people that were watching the game at my job because I had the game up on the television, and we're all kind of standing there watching it, and every single one of them is like, what the hell was that? What the hell was that? That was horrible. That was absolutely horrible. So at least they were able to actually kind of find a way to win that game because that was
okay. There's 6 players who have hit a home run on the first pitch they saw in a playoff game.
Wow.
One is Pasty Doherty.
Hold on.
Kyle Schwarber.
Oh, Patsy Doherty. Okay.
Patsy Doherty.
Okay.
Kyle Schwarber.
Derek Jeter.
I don't know if it was Derek Jeter. I don't know. Hold on.
I don't know if that's the truth either.
The list was shown on the TV last night during the broadcast. I don't remember what the list was.
Regardless, he still joins a very elite
He still joins
group.
a very elite list. Now, I love the way Boone managed Game 2.
It's better.
It was better. You have him come out in the, I believe it was it the 6th to try and take Rodon out, or was it 7? Because Rodon went.
I think he took him out in the 6th because that was when Story hit that home run to tie the game up, and that was off Rodon.
He came out to try and get Rodon out of. Because he took Rodon out in the 7th.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying is he was still in there in the 6th, so I believe it was.
He came out in the 6th to talk to Rodon after he gave up the home run, and because they showed Cruz in the bullpen, he left him out there. He let Rodon get through the 6th, brought him back out there in the 7th, which I liked until he put runners on first and second. Then he brought Fernando Cruz in, who, when Fernando Cruz is on,
he's very good.
He is very, very good.
Underrated, I believe, too.
Splitter might be the nastiest splitter in the league.
There's
one of them. It's either the splitter or the slide. One of those two pitches is like really disgusting that he has. But he was very, very good. You have, I believe that was the 7th inning. That was the play where Jazz saved 2 runs from scoring.
Yeah, diving and laying out and making that play was insane. I thought he had him too.
That was against Yoshida.
Yeah, that was nuts.
He saved 2 runs from scoring. Jazz saved the season right there. But you have Fernando Cruz who has the bases get loaded. He strikes out 2, allows a single, right? And then Trevor Story was up again, I think. And then he flies out to Trent Grisham, center field.
Yeah.
Fernando Cruz is fired up.
I know, he was pumped.
He was pumped. Like, he was... You see the emotion on his face that he brings. His energy is just up there.
It's
amazing.
off the charts, man.
And then you have Jazz. I believe he got walked.
I think so.
Jazz walked. And then you have him scoring from first or second.
It's first base on an Austin Wells single.
He scored from first base on an Austin Wells single down the line. Like, the game means a lot to players on the Yankees, and then you bring in Williams in the 8th, who pitched great again, and you have Bednar come in the 9th.
And Bednar slammed the door.
Bednar is been an acquisition they made at the deadline where at first I was like,
yeah, because he had that one bad game against the Marlins, and everyone kind of panicked, and then
Yeah, but you look at the Yankees and closers and pitchers from the Pirates, right? Mm-hmm. That's how they acquired Clay Holmes. That's how they got. I don't know who else they got from the Pirates as pitching wise, but Usually they find people from the Pirates, make him good for like half of a season, and then they let him go. Like
Well, that won't be the case for one man.
David Bednar, great acquisition. That's exactly what they needed too, because Devin Williams obviously couldn't handle the pressure of being the closer in New York. So they went out and they got a guy to take that role and be like, to use Devin Williams in a high leverage situation, like high lev dev, but not as the closer. So there's not as much pressure.
Yeah, because I don't think he could really hang with the pressure either. We saw it against, the New York Mets the year before. And ever since that moment, it's kind of just been very strange.
But as of late, his last 8 appearances, Devin Williams has looked
much
elite.
Better.
He's looked like Devin Williams,
which I kind of felt like it was coming at one point. The guy was naturally a very, very good closing pitcher. Obviously, every player is going to go through stretches.
We have Game 3 tonight at 8:00 because the Dodgers swept the Reds, like we said before. On the mound for the Yankees is Cam Schlittler. You know my opinion on him. I love him. He's been everything that we could have asked for and more, because Schmidt went down and we all panicked because Cole is hurt, Schmidt is hurt.
Luis Hill was hurt at the time.
Exactly. Now, this is where I was a little concerned at first, because you look at Boston's 3 pitchers they were supposed to have pitched this series. Crochet, Bayo, Giolito. Giolito, fairly good.
Yeah. He's had his moments.
But yeah. I wasn't too fond of the Yankees facing Giolito. Then I found out that Giolito's hurt. Obviously. So my thought was I had no idea who Boston was going to throw yesterday. So I was like, all they have to do is they have to win tonight, because Boston's either A, going to do a bullpen game tomorrow, or B, they're going to throw out their number 4 starter, and that might not be a great idea in general. So pitching tonight for Boston is Conley early. He has pitched 4 games in the major leagues. He has a 2.33 ERA, 1 win, 2 losses.
Which isn't bad.
Not bad. Although, when you look at a pitcher in the playoffs, you're looking for reliability.
A guy that can go fairly deep.
A guy that can go fairly deep as well, yes. So, against his only win that he has this season. Well, no, against the Athletics in his first start, he went 5 innings, 5 hits, 0 runs, a walk, 11 strikeouts.
It's a good game.
But then you see him every game after that, he allowed runs, which not really the best. He hasn't gone over 5 1/3 innings yet.
Which is concerning.
For the playoffs, because you're looking for a guy that could at least go 6.
Yeah.
5 1/3, 5 hits, 1 run, 1 earned run, 7 strikeouts, 4 innings pitched against the Rays. Rays aren't in the playoffs.
Nope.
3 hits, 3 runs against the Rays. 2 runs were earned, but still. 4 strikeouts. Then against Detroit, 5 innings, 4 hits, 2 runs, 2 earned runs, 7 strikeouts.
Detroit's a playoff team, so listen, it's
now
you never know what you're going to get out of him, but the Yankees are going to have to get to him very, very early tonight. To be honest, you need to judge home run in the first inning.
I agree.
Really take a commanding.
With Schlittler, I need him to be phenomenal.
Well, of course, you need him to be phenomenal anyway, but. Yeah,
okay,
you need him to be good.
He hasn't faced Boston yet this season at all.
That's okay.
Which is, because I was looking to see if when they played Boston in August in the Bronx, or in September when they played him in Fenway,
to be honest, I think it's better.
To see if he had any.
They have no experience against him. They don't know what pitches he really. Obviously they're going to do their film study and stuff, but you don't know what sequences he's coming at.
So there's no nothing to compare against.
No, not at all. There's no sample size off of him
Exactly.
at all.
That's exactly what the Yankees need. And with Schlittler being as good as he is, again, the only game he struggled was against Toronto, where he went 1 2/3.
Yeah.
Other than that, I mean, he's only gone more than 6 innings, 6 2/3. That's the longest he's been. But still, that alone.
Yeah.
But the 6 2/3 innings that he was out for was 6 2/3 of perfect baseball.
Yeah, I know. I remember you were at that game. I
Yes.
remember you telling me about it as well, too. I think you mentioned it on the podcast.
I did.
definitely remember that. So, yeah, tonight's going to be a big game for them. Very, very
I'm
big
saying
game.
this right now. Another thing from game 1 that I didn't like was how the lineup was built. Because you had Goldschmidt leading off. Judge batting second. Judge was second. Bellinger was third. Stanton was batting fourth.
That's strange.
You had Grisham at 5. No, wait, no. No. At 5 was Rosario.
What? Really?
Grisham was batting 6th.
Oh, my God.
Volpe was
How the hell did he
7th.
make that
Wells was 8th. Caballero was 9th. Against
That's-
Crochet.
Yeah, Goldschmidt, Judge, Belly, Stanton, Rosario, Grisham, Volpe, Wells, Caballero. I don't know why. Doesn't Grisham usually bat leadoff?
Yes, last night Grisham was batting leadoff, and that's how it should be tonight. Last night's lineup was how Game 1's lineup should have been. Last night's lineup was Grisham 1, Judge 2, Bellinger 3, Stanton 4, Jazz 5, Volpe.
No, it was Grisham, Judge, Bellinger, Rice.
Oh, yeah, Grisham,
Stanton,
Bellinger, Judge, Rice, Stanton,
Jazz, Wells, Volpe, McMahon.
Wells, Volpe. That's how the lineup should have been for Game 1.
I don't know what the hell he was doing
Now-
when he was making that the Game 1 lineup.
Now, tonight, Grisham should be leading off.
I
Judge
agree.
should be batting second.
Yep.
I think they roll out the same lineup they did yesterday.
I wouldn't be surprised if they do. I would be very surprised if they go against that. But to be honest, I don't know why they don't do Bellinger 2. I like Bellinger at 2. I would do Grisham 1, Belly 2, Judge 3, Stanton 4, and then if you want to go with a guy like what's his name that I just said before? He was batting 5th the other night for them. Oh my God.
Rosario?
No. Jazz. You put Jazz 5. I think it was Jazz now.
No, Rosario.
Oh no, sorry, Ben Rice. You put Ben Rice at 5. I don't know why they don't do that, especially since Ben.
I think
Ben's been one of their better
I know
players,
he's been one of the better players, but
at least as of late. I'm not
Of
going to
late.
say on the year, but of late. Yes.
well, no, Ben Rice, he hasn't his average isn't there, but he hasn't had a bad season.
No, that's
in
not what I'm
general.
saying though. What I'm saying is if you look at that lineup, and you have obviously Grisham, you want to slot.
Grisham should be lead off for the rest of the season.
Yeah.
Unless physically there's a reason he can't play, there's no other reason why he should not be slotted at number 1 in the lineup.
I could agree with that. I could definitely agree with that. Trust me, I know. I've said it multiple times. Grisham, I think, didn't he have 30-plus home runs this year?
He had 32, I believe.
He is definitely going to get himself a nice contract
From the
after the
Mets.
year that he. I would love having him on the Mets.
Yeah, but you're gonna give him like $200 million.
Oh no, we'll give him $700 million. That's exactly how it would go. But again, tonight has got to be a big night for the Yankees. If they expect to make their season continue, they need to come out with that fire, and they need Schlittler to pitch well.
They need Schlittler to go at least 5. They need him to go 6, maybe 7, but at least 5 innings.
Yeah, minimum.
They
He
can
needs
get 5 innings out of him, that would be great.
Yeah.
Then, for the 6th inning, you bring in a guy like Fernando Cruz. Or
If they go with him again, I mean that's what.
no,
2
they
nights in a
have
row?
to. They can't. They can't not use their best guys. Luke Weaver should not enter this game.
No, I agree with that.
Luke Weaver should not enter this game. They have an off day tomorrow, and then on Saturday would be game 1 of the ALDS. So
So you think they go maybe Cruz, Doval, Williams, Bednar to close it? If he goes 5?
Well, if he goes 5, I think they use Cruz for maybe 2/3 of an inning, and then they got to throw Tim Hill in there somewhere.
Tim Hill, Mark Leiter Jr. too.
Yeah, Mark Leiter Jr. should not enter this game. Luke Weaver should not enter the game. Tim Hill, if they need to use a fourth guy or fifth guy, put him in. But use Cruz in the 6th, Doval in the 7th, Williams in the 8th, Bednar in the 9th.
That's what I just said.
Now, if he does go 6+, you still want to use. You have options now.
Yeah.
Let's say he goes 6 2/3 innings. You could use Cruz for one batter, have him sit. Use Doval in the 7th, or if Cruz is on, let him go pitch in the 7th. Use Doval, maybe Doval like towards the
end of the 7th.
End of the 7th. You bring Williams on in the 8th. The one thing you don't do is you don't use Williams in the 9th.
No.
Bednar has to be pitching in the 9th, unless somehow, some way the Yankees are up by 10 runs. Bednar should be in the 9th.
Yeah, no, trust me.
And the one thing I will say is that if the Red Sox, when the Red Sox put Chapman in the game, I want them to do it in the 8th. Because when you look at Chapman's career statistically, Chapman this year has been phenomenal.
Yeah, he's been very good for them this year.
But his career statistically, when you roll him back out there for more than one inning, he struggles.
A little bit. I mean, he did that.
You saw that. I was about to say you saw that Tuesday night. They brought him out in the 8th to get 2 outs. Then you look at what happened in the 9th.
Load the bases.
He loaded the bases.
Yeah.
We didn't score in the 9th, but you load the bases. If you bring Chapman out in the 8th, which the Yankees have to be applying pressure for Boston to do that, I think it would be. They need Chapman to come out for more than one inning.
I agree.
Especially if they're down by a run or the game is tied. If he comes in and the game is tied in the 9th, the game's going to extras.
Yeah, and you do not want.
You don't want. I don't want to go to extras.
Because then you'll start putting in guys like Luke Weaver and Mark Leiter Jr., which you.
The one thing I will say I like about the extras in playoffs though is that there's no Manfred man.
Yeah.
It's just straight classic extra innings baseball,
which they should go back to anyway. But
yeah, that's another thing that we talk about in another episode.
Yeah.
But I like my matchup for today, only because Connolly early. We haven't seen him, we haven't faced him, but he's a rookie. So is Schlittler, but the kid.
Schlittler's got more experience.
He's got more experience, and plus Schlittler's I don't watch the Red Sox, so Connolly early could be a stud, but Schlittler's a stud.
Mm-hmm. I can vouch.
He's like a flamethrower. He pitches just like Garrett Cole does. He has the velocity, and it's not like, I don't know if I said this last week, but I was watching a game, and the broadcast was saying that you look at pitchers through innings 1 through 3. You see their velocities floating around 98, 99, but when you get to innings 4, 5, and 6, you see it going down more like 94, 96 in that area.
Yeah.
Because they're throwing the hardest stuff
early in the
game. But when you look at Schlittler, his velocity sits around 98, 99 throughout his entire start. So it shows that he's not only pitching at a very high level, he's also not overdoing it.
Which is a very good thing. It's a very good thing.
Because with pitchers that throw hard for 3 innings, those are the pitchers you see getting Tommy John surgery.
Yes, you do. A lot of them. It's much more frequent.
If you go out there and throw like the fastest you can for 3 innings, you're not going to be able to do that 182 games out of the season. Granted, you're not pitching every game, but still, it's not good for your body.
No, it's definitely not good for your body.
And to have somebody who can throw that hard consistently without doing anything to their arm or shoulder, knock on wood.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just something that is amazing to have.
Yep, and it is good, and I think that it could play a big part in the Yankees tonight. I am hoping that they kind of do find a way to move on, just because, like we mentioned before, it'd be nice to see New York bring something back.
I will say this. I think whoever, Toronto might not be an easy opponent.
No.
But whoever comes out of this side of the East or the American League is going to the World Series.
It's very possible. Even though I wouldn't sleep on Cleveland either, though. I wouldn't sleep on any of the teams left.
But when you look at it, right? Let's say the Yankees do win, and they somehow find a way to beat Toronto. The Yankees have Cleveland's number. If we want to face a team, it's going to be that we have a good shot at going back to it would be Cleveland.
Yeah, that's true.
Or Seattle. Seattle's struggling right now. I don't think they make it out of the second round.
They could. Hey, you never know. They got a very good pitching staff as well, too, though.
I know.
That's a big thing in the playoffs.
And Detroit might scare me a little bit, but Toronto's pitching staff, again, they have Shane Bieber. I don't know who their other starters are.
I think they still have Kevin Gausman, too.
They have Kevin Gausman, but
they still have Jose Barrios, or no?
They do have Barrios, too. One thing they have to do, right, is with Toronto, they just have to shut down Vladdy and they have to shut down Springer. If they face Toronto and they keep those two from getting hot in the series, then the Yankees should easily be able to beat Toronto.
Oh, I forgot. They have Gausman, Scherzer, Shane Bieber, and then the new kid they just called up, Trey Yasavage. And he's been pretty good, too. But
Max Scherzer struggles against the Yankees.
I know he can, too. But, anything can happen in the playoffs. Like I said before, I really hope that they do find a way to move on. But we shall see at the end of tonight how that goes.
Yes.
Now we can kind of go a little bit to college football. I know we spent a lot of time talking about baseball. We're just going to go over a couple little things that we saw from the last week because we did have some upsets. I actually look like an idiot from last week because a lot of the games that I predicted the scores for, most of them I got wrong. The only one I got right was the University of Alabama, who beat Georgia by a final score of 24-21. I didn't predict the score there, but I did say Alabama was going to find a way to win. I think I said it was going to be 27-24, but Alabama definitely looks like they finally found their groove a little bit under Kalen DeBoer. They finally were able to get themselves a win, but it looks like they always have Georgia's number. Ty Simpson and company were able to get their biggest win of the season, and now they officially rejoin the top 10 in the college football world after they kind of fell off after their loss to Florida State University early in the year. Georgia actually dropped 7 spots to the number 12 spot. And now Bama actually plays in the game of the week against ranked number 16 Vanderbilt in Tuscaloosa, which the last time they played Vanderbilt beat them. And Vanderbilt, I'm shocked. They've actually been a much better football team than a lot of people would have ever anticipated this year. And the fact that they're in the ranking kind of shows that. So I'm happy for them, but at the same time, I really hope Alabama wins that game too because that's going to be a big one for them. That could really prove some more and hopefully bump them up. I also did end up saying that I thought LSU was going to beat Ole Miss last week. That did not happen.
Nope. Lane Kiffin made sure to find a way to win.
Yeah, Lane Kiffin and company.
And after the game, in his post-game interview, he said he was looking for, what's-his-face?
Yeah, Whit Weeks, I think.
Yeah.
Or Meeks or something like
Whatever,
that.
something.
Yeah, the linebacker because I think he's dating Lane Kiffin's daughter.
Yeah. One game you don't have on here that was actually, pretty good. To the Tennessee game.
Oh yeah, no, it was just that a lot of those games, at least I was looking at the ranked matchups. That's what I try to do is keep it within the top 25.
Well, yeah, no, but I believe the Tennessee game went to overtime. Or I don't know if it went to overtime, but it was a close game.
Yeah, but at least for the Ole Miss game, while you're looking that up, we saw Ole Miss defeat LSU 24-19, and it was more surprising because the big reason why I took LSU was because starting quarterback Austin Simmons was out. And so they started their quarterback, Trinidad Chambliss, who he had 385 yards from scrimmage on the day. And Garrett Nussmeier really didn't have that great of a day. He only threw for 197 yards. But the big thing was Ole Miss limited, LSU's run game to 57 total yards, which is impressive.
Number 15 ranked Tennessee beat Mississippi State Bulldogs 41-34 in overtime.
See, that's the thing. That's why I didn't look at it because it was the Mississippi State. I thought Tennessee was going to end up blowing them out of the water. They probably ended up falling after that in the rankings because Mississippi State, I know they usually compete. They're still an SEC team.
Well, Mississippi State's 4-1.
Take a look at their schedule. Take a look at their schedule. I'd love to see how they do playing against some of their other teams who'd they play? Tell me.
Texas no, they played Arizona State.
That's a winnable game. That's an SEC team versus a team that's not in the SEC. So, Mississippi State's good enough.
Okay, no. This is not
Yeah,
that good of a...
exactly my point. Let me see them play Georgia or Bama or Florida or Texas or Oklahoma.
They played Southern Miss. They played Arizona State, Alcorn State.
Alcorn State, oh yeah.
Northern Illinois.
Woof. Wow. What a schedule. They got a gauntlet. Nah.
Well, now they have Texas A&M, Florida, and then Texas. And then they play Arkansas after that. Then after Arkansas, they play Georgia, then Missouri.
Yeah. So they're going, 1-5?
And then after Missouri, they play Ole Miss.
Yeah, they're going 1-7. 1-6 in the last 7 weeks. Oh man, see that was my point. Is you just got to look at the schedule. They're okay. They're an SEC team, but they're not gonna be able to really do that. So so LSU ended up falling. They actually flip-flop spots. Ole Miss is bumped up to number 4, where LSU was, and LSU falls to where Ole Miss was at number 13 now. The other game that I ended up picking incorrectly, what a shocker, was the Illinois Fighting Illini going up against the USC Trojans. Illinois actually bounced back and won that game, especially after they got smoked by Indiana last week, which I was taking Illinois to win that game. And, of course, that's the way that goes. They won 34-32 on a 41-yard field goal as time expired. Both quarterbacks for each school, Jordan Mailata and Luke Altmaier, actually both eclipsed 300 yards passing. They all played extremely well, but obviously that clutch drive at the end of the game to get Illinois into field goal range ended up being the big factor to pull them away with the win. And then the other game, which I don't know why I took Penn State now that I look back at the analytics of it, which of course we're talking analytics and how it's ruined sports, but the number 6 Oregon Ducks upset Penn State at their whiteout at home by a final score of 30-24 in overtime. You saw Dante Moore step up and throw for 248 yards and 3 touchdowns, but the Oregon defense was the real difference maker as they picked off Drew Aller late in the game in overtime to secure the win. Penn State continues their struggles now against highly ranked teams under Coach Franklin, and this is what I meant by saying I don't know why I picked Penn State. They are now 4-21 against top 10 ranked opponents under Coach James Franklin and 1-18 versus Big Ten opponents when they are ranked in the top 10. So Oregon is now the number 2 seed and Penn State is now the number 7 seed. I don't know why I took Penn State. I mean, I do have a little love for Penn State too because, I've had some history with them. Obviously I wore a Penn State shirt during one of the things, but Oregon ended up, deserving that win. So
we're going to transition into football, NFL. Now, Zach was wrong about this game. I'm going to say Zach was wrong about this game. I was right about this game.
Yeah.
You had the Giants upset the 3-0 Chargers.
Yep.
Winning by a score of 21-18.
Shocker.
You have the Giants getting the first win of the season with Jackson Dart, who wasn't really... I'm not going to say he wasn't good, but I'm not going to say he was bad. He was for his first NFL game, he didn't have a lot of passing yards, but he was 13 for 20, which is a pretty good passer rating.
It's not bad.
And he's completed more than 50% of his passes, I'm pretty sure, and he had 111 yards passing.
Yeah, I believe that's 65%.
That's not bad for your first NFL start.
No,
and the Chargers' defense isn't bad either.
No.
13 for 20, 111 passing yards, 1 passing touchdown. He also rushed for 54 yards on 10 carries with a rushing touchdown. He was sacked 5 times, but that is concerning. The Giants' O-line isn't really the best still. But the one thing I noticed that Dart was, hold on, before I speak on this. Obviously, the big thing about that game is Malik Neighbors going down.
Yeah, that was...
He's out for the whole rest of the season.
Get rid of the turf at MetLife Stadium and every other football stadium.
OBJ went on Twitter and he wrote a whole thing to the NFL saying, "Dear NFL," and I don't know if he mentioned the Giants, whatever. But he said, get rid of the turf. That field is not great.
It's
ruined so many careers.
a ton. Well, it's not just them either, though. It's the just turf in general.
No, but specifically, the turf at MetLife is
I know.
is really bad.
You've seen so many injuries on that turf at MetLife Stadium.
What I don't understand is when they played the World Cup games there, the not the actual World Cup games, but the
qualifier games.
No, the ones that from last summer that Chelsea won.
Oh, that's not the World Cup.
That's the clubs
the Club World Cup.
The Club World Cup,
yes.
They took the turf out and they put grass in.
Why don't they do that for the NFL games? Trust me, I agree with you. I think it's the stupidest thing. You see so many people get hurt, and even I saw John Gruden ranting about it as well too. But his was more about injuries in general. You'd have these guys, they practice in no pads the entire week, then they come out and play in pads and they get hurt. You're down quarterbacks, running backs, tight ends, wide receivers, linebackers. Everybody's getting hurt. Now, granted, it's part of football. This is the stupidest BS I've ever seen. Why they continue to put these players on turf where their ankle or their cleat gets stuck in the turf, their leg goes one way and their weight goes the other way, and the next thing you know, you see their legs snap, their freaking tendons and muscles are ripping apart.
Yeah, Tyreek Hill.
Well, we'll get there too, because that one was even worse. But I mean, when are these people going to learn? You have to get rid of the turf.
Exactly. Look at Joe Burrow, turf toe.
Even Brock Purdy's had issues with turf toe as well too. I think that's kind of the reason why he's out.
He played last week though.
Yeah, but he's out this week.
Oh, well then, yeah, probably.
It's come on, man.
One thing I will say is that when you see a rookie quarterback go in their first game, right? You look at Dart. He played well in the preseason, as most rookie quarterbacks do.
Mm-hmm.
But when it comes to the NFL, they're not playing third-string players, second-string players.
No, you're playing your first.
You're playing your first-string defense. Granted, Khalil Mack didn't play, but you look at Dart. He looked calm. He looked composed, and he didn't look rattled. I even think Russell Wilson looked rattled behind the Giants' offensive line. And that's why he threw some of the balls that he did, because he didn't want to stay in the pocket and take the hit.
Well, I think it's also because he doesn't have the mobility he once used to have.
That too. But I'm just saying,
No, I agree.
There's one play in particular. They were in the red zone, and I believe it was on a third down, and they needed, I think, either 7 yards or 10 yards. And you see Dart. He takes the snap, and he looks, sees nothing. He looks, sees Scatterbo in the flat. Not the flat, but kind of in the flat, but he's running maybe a mini wheel route. And you see him throw the ball in the vicinity of Scatterbo. So he's using his brain as to where I think in that situation, Russell Wilson would have forced the ball, thrown an interception. Daniel Jones would have either A, did the same thing, or B, tried to do too much and would have wound up fumbling the ball. But what I like is that there were several decisions, several times where Dart saw an open pocket, ran for the first down, threw the ball away when he had to. He took a sack when he had to. There was one play they were in the red zone and Dart went to take the ball himself and rush for it, and he got stuffed. And instead of letting that, he broke off the tackle, got pushed back 3 yards, and picked up the first down. He bounced off of the tackle, ran to the left, and got a first down. What quarterback do you see doing that?
There's not many. Maybe Josh Allen. But
Josh Allen, yeah. Well, he said he spoke to Josh Allen in the offseason on how to play behind in Dable's system. And Dable made Josh Allen what he was. He was the quarterback coach.
Yeah, no, I know that.
What I like about Dart is that how he's calm, composed, and he wasn't too self-confident. You know, some rookie quarterbacks come in and be like, "Oh yeah, I was the number one pick. I'm gonna be good." I'm expect. Dart was calm. He had energy. You could see that this team means, him being on the Giants means something, that he wants to win. He has great potential. I think the passing will eventually, the passing yards will eventually come.
Oh yeah, it'll take time.
But for your first week as an NFL starter and you go out and you beat an undefeated team,
it was impressive.
It was it's very impressive. And I think you could say the same thing with Daniel Jones' first game. He was really, really good. But when you look at Eli's first game, he wasn't the best. And I don't think they won that game. But Daniel Jones won, but they played the Bucs. That's when the Bucs had Jameis Winston.
Yeah.
But Jackson Dart, I know a lot of people, including myself, thought that it was too soon to start him. I know you did as well. But if he can go out and continue to play this way, I mean, the Giants are definitely going to do something in the future. They're going to make some noise.
Of course.
I'm looking forward to it. It's been a while since I've had actually been able to look forward to watching football because I'm not going to lie, the Giants have been a dumpster fire since 2016.
I know they have. I had buddies that went to the game this weekend, and they loved it, too.
Now, one thing I will say is that, yes, Neighbors is out, and people are like, well, the Giants don't have a number one receiver. They don't. Slayton's not good enough. They have a guy, which I hope they extend at the end of the season because I love him. He's amazing. He's a really great player. They have Wan'Dale Robinson. A lot of people overlook him, but he's like one of the best number 2 receivers in the league. Now that he's a number 1, he's going to have an opportunity to shine, and I think he's going to take it.
I wouldn't go that far. One of the best number 2s in the league. That's
what I mean.
Steep.
What I mean.
He's good as a number 2.
What I mean by that is I get it. He's not the best at, but when you look at route, CeeDee Lamb even came out and said it. Wan'Dale, he said, was one of the best route runners in the NFL.
Oh, I'm not going to dispute that. I'm just saying to be claimed as one of the best wide receivers. That's a reach. That's a reach.
That is bias.
I know
heavy bias, but what I'm saying is that Wan'Dale was going to get more targets, more production, and people are going to be
deserves to
are going to be surprised and say, well, I didn't think Wan'Dale had this in him. I think this is no. He was great at Kentucky. He's great here. He's being overlooked because of Neighbors. This year 1, he tore his ACL. I don't know if it was year 1 or year 2. Yeah, it's a rookie year. He tore his ACL, I think. He came back. He's on the final year of his deal. I just hope they bring him back.
Yeah, I think they probably will too. I think he's
another
gonna get a lot of
thing I want to
touches,
say quickly about the Giants is that this statement came out, I believe, Monday. Prayers go out for John Mara. He said he was diagnosed with cancer.
Yep, I saw that too. Prayers go out to him. You never want to see that with anybody.
I don't want to see that with anybody. Cancer sucks.
It does.
It's a real thing. It's not a great thing. You got to go through radiation, chemo. It's a battle. But John Mara also has brought the Giants to Super Bowls. So.
Yep. No, it's very true. So.
I hope the best for him.
Quick recovery.
I wish him well.
Yep. I agree with that 100%. Now we'll kind of move off them. Again, prayers up to him. I hope he's able to battle it off and keep fighting the good fight.
I don't care who you are, what team you're the GM of. If you have cancer, you're gonna get sympathy from me.
Yeah, and you should 100%. Now we'll move on a little bit. So we did also see the Texans get their first win this week.
Yes, we did.
I just found it extremely funny, and the reason why I wanted to mention this was I don't know if you saw Cam Ward's post-game press conference.
Oh, yeah, Cam Ward said that they were ass.
In quote, he said, if we keep it a buck right now, we ass. I just... Then he goes, we are 0-4 and dropped a quarter of our effing games, and we have yet to do anything. Listen, I get the frustration. I get it. He's a rookie. He spent all of his time in college and high school as a winner. He's a competitor. Now, granted, he didn't win a national championship with Miami, but he was very, very good. And they had a good record.
He's the only player. I believe he's the only player left that was on that Miami team from last year that is still on an active NFL roster.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. But like I said, the dude's a baller.
What I will say is that he came out after he said that, because he really didn't say the whole thing. He came out and said later on in that speech that, yes, it has something to do with the receivers not catching or doing what the most they can do in the O-line. But he also said that we're just asses in general. He goes, me included. He goes, I haven't been playing my best. I don't want people to sit here and think that he's just being a diva.
No, I agree with that. I just found it funny as hell.
I think it's hilarious. But he acknowledged the fact that he wasn't doing what his part completely.
Well,
and that there's still more to do.
Well, we also kind of knew that going into the season, too, that they were missing a lot of pieces. That team was not going to be extremely competitive, even with him stepping in. They're missing a lot. They don't have like a really, I mean, they have Tony Pollard, but they don't really have a polished RB1 that's like a standout. They don't really have the receivers. The defense is okay, but not really anything like crazy special. We kind of knew that. I just found it funny as hell the way that he said it, but I kind of got the context of why he did. It's understandable, and it's going to take a little bit of time for them to kind of move on and do better down the road. I don't know if it has to do with coaching or not. It may not. With Callahan, I believe, is their coach. So things will change at some point. I just had to mention that because the way he said it, I was laughing hysterical because that was funny as hell for him to say.
We have the Eagles staying undefeated. We were both wrong about this.
Well, yeah, I did kind of take the Bucs because I know that they've had their number. Now, granted, they kind of put themselves in the opposite situation the Rams did. They put themselves in a hole before they decided to almost come back. The Rams put themselves in a big lead and then took their foot off the gas. So it was a little different in that regard. I thought that the Bucs were going to somehow find a way to come back because later in the game, they were cooking. Between the Bucky Irving, I believe it was a 77-yard touchdown.
Yeah, now Bucky Irving's out.
And now Bucky Irving is out.
Indefinitely.
Yeah, and then, Emeka Egbuka again with another big touchdown as well, too. I mean, they are still a very, very good team. They just ran into the Eagles while they're still hot. I mean, obviously you see how good the Eagles are. There's a reason why they're the number one team in our eyes. There's a reason why that they're undefeated still. They're very well-rounded, and they continue to prove it on special teams with that big blocked punt to start the game and returning that for a touchdown. Obviously, you don't know what offense you're going to get from the Eagles because they're so able to switch it up. You saw like Dallas Goedert go off for 2 weeks two touchdowns this week.
Yeah.
Then you had Saquon on the fake tush-push, take it in on touch. That offense is very unpredictable. You don't know whether you're going to get the passing version or the running version.
Now,
or both.
one thing I will say is A.J. Brown is still frustrated.
He's never happy.
No, but I believe the amount of
targets he's getting,
the amount of yards he has on the season, Puka Nacua had more in the last game that he played.
I understand that.
I believe A.J. Brown only has 150 yards on the season.
Well, to be honest, if he wants to stop complaining, come to the Rams then. Okay? If you want to get targets, get a quarterback that's going to throw you the damn ball, not one that's going to do the tush-push or run 15 times a game. That's all I'm going to say. He knows what he signed up for. He took the contract. He took the money. And they're winning games. If you're a team player, be happy that you won the game. I know you want to contribute just like Malik Neighbors did when he was talking about it, but guess what? If you're winning games, you're getting paid tons of money, and you're still participating in the game, keep your damn mouth shut
now
and enjoy.
We see the Ravens. The Ravens
Bad,
are surprisingly bad this year.
No, they're surprisingly ass this year.
Well, I was trying to say it politely.
I won't. I'll keep it a buck.
You see the Ravens lose to the Chiefs in Arrowhead by a final score of 37-20. Mahomes with 270 yards, 4 touchdowns on the day. Lamar 147, my bad, with a touchdown and an interception before he left the game in the third quarter with a hamstring injury that's possibly going to sideline him for 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks. Now that team, I don't know who their backup quarterback is.
Cooper Rush.
He was solid for Dallas.
He was, but you know what? Listen, he was good in that system. He had a lot of good pieces around him. I don't know how great he's going to be with Baltimore because that's a completely different offensive scheme than what Dallas had.
I know. It's a completely different offensive scheme, but I will say one thing.
He is good, though.
He is not the worst quarterback to have as your backup.
No, I agree with that statement 100%. He's not the worst to have.
And I think what they did during practice this week is they kind of not switched the playbook, but kind of changed it so that they don't call as many
run plays.
Read options, because obviously they have Derrick Henry. They're gonna pound the rock. They have Zay Flowers, who's been outstanding this year. Mark Andrews when he wants to catch the football.
I think Isaiah Likely's back this week as well too.
So they have the pieces, but the defense yet again just not there.
Their defense is woof. Now I think there's a big reason behind it though too, and I'm assuming that's kind of what you were gonna jump to is look at the names of the guys that are out for them currently. You have Lamar, Ronnie Stanley,
Roquan, Marlon Humphrey, Nate Wiggins, Nnamdi Madubuike, Kyle Van Noy, Patrick Ricard.
Those are only just a few. There's 10 of them that are out.
Yeah.
That's
you
not
good.
good.
You can say that for every team, and number one, injuries aren't good.
No.
So there's just that. But Baltimore, if they keep playing the way they do, they're not making the playoffs.
No. Well, especially with Lamar, because they have a tough road ahead, I believe, as well, too. I think this week upcoming, they play the Texans. The Texans' defense will probably give them a little bit of a run for their money without Lamar. If they have Lamar, it's a different story. But then the following week, you have to play the LA Rams without Lamar Jackson as well, too. If you lose those 2 games, you start out 1-5 on the season. You are not in a very good spot at all to make the playoffs.
You are not.
Especially with the Steelers starting to pull away with that division a little bit right now as well, too, because they're finding ways to win. So
now,
it may be time to start panicking.
We have the Bears winning their second game in a row.
Shocker.
Against the Raiders, who, granted, Raiders, not the best team, but the Bears won by a score of 25-24 thanks to a blocked field goal.
Another one.
By Josh Blackwell with under a minute left, as they would improve to 2-2. Ashton Genty finally arrived for the Raiders.
Yeah, huge game from him.
I don't understand. When he came to the NFL, he switched his stance. And he went back to the Michael Myers stance.
And absolutely tore.
And he absolutely, the Bears defense isn't the worst.
Well, they're also not.
They're not the best,
either,
but still, like, the Bears defense, they have some, like, their defensive line is good. That's all I'm going to say.
Their secondary's been brutal.
Their secondary's been bad, but secondary doesn't really have to worry about tackling Ashton Genty coming running out of the play. Like, usually it's the linemen, the linebackers. Right?
Yeah, but if they miss and the secondary doesn't help either, that's what's breaking some long bombs.
That's
I
what I'm saying. But like,
is,
they have Tremaine Edmonds, they have Montez Sweat, they have a few other key pieces on the D line. But I don't who told Genty to switch his stance? Was it Pete Carroll?
I don't think so.
If he did it on his own, that doesn't make any sense.
I don't think he would have done it. I wouldn't be surprised if it was their offensive coordinator, whoever that is. I don't know who their OC is.
But now that Genty went back to the Michael Myers stance, he popped off. He looked like Ashton Genty.
I think it's just because he felt comfortable and, like you said with Dart, it's like calm, cool. He's used to doing that his entire career. Just let him do what he's got to do to feel prepared and ready to go.
When you take him with the 6, it was 5. It might have been 6. They had the 5th pick, I think.
No, I think they had the 6th.
It was the 6th pick because the Browns had the 5th pick.
Yeah, and they took Mason Graham.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, it was the 6th pick. But I figured Genty was going to have that moment, too. Everyone was kind of saying, oh, well, he wouldn't have put up those numbers if he played in the SEC when he was in college. Listen, the guy's a good running back.
It's like the same thing. They're like, oh, yeah, they're like, Cam Scatterbo can't do what he's doing in college in the NFL.
And look at how great he's doing now. The dude is a pure athlete. You see it from Scatterbo. You see it from Genty. It was only a matter of time.
Scatterbo is like a
freight train. That dude is like a Mack
CTE
truck.
maniac.
Yeah. Trust me, I would not want to stand in front of that guy.
Now,
not at all. The Sunday night game.
Hold on. We have Genty. He had 138 yards, adding 3 touchdowns total in the game, but it wouldn't be enough for the Bears to win.
Yeah.
Sunday night, AT&T Stadium for the return of Micah Parsons as a Cowboy at Cowboy Stadium as the Cowboys host Green Bay. Both offenses clicked, and each team scored 5 touchdowns in the game. However, maybe Green Bay isn't as good as we thought they were.
What did I tell you a couple weeks ago? Why I put the Rams over the Packers last week?
Jordan Love doesn't know how to perform in the big games, but what I'm saying...
It was more their defense that night.
Yeah,
though. The defense
was just not great.
They can't connect everything.
When you put up 5 touchdowns on offense, the quarterback is not to blame.
No,
not at all.
He did play fairly well too, but the thing I said to you was, now granted, the biggest question mark was Jordan Love. The big thing for me is they cannot seem to string everything together in one game. The defense plays really good, the offense doesn't play well. The offense plays really good, the defense doesn't play well.
I know, that's one thing that they have to figure out if they want to be considered contenders.
Absolutely.
They have the pieces, they have the talent. They just need to figure out how to
tie it all together. I agree with that, and that's what I was saying, my big thing. Now, obviously, the bigger question mark of it is Jordan Love. I think the defense will find their footing as well, too. It's just uncomfortable situation.
I feel like Jordan Love isn't the problem here.
I never said he was a problem.
I like Jordan Love. I think he's a great quarterback. I don't know if there's a big the question mark is as big as you think it is.
No, I'm not. I'm saying for the team as a whole, he is the question mark out of everybody else. You know what you're getting out of their defense, and you know what you're getting out of the wide receiver room. Again, like I mentioned, doesn't really help as much.
I know. Now that they're down Jaden Reed too.
Yeah.
But I think that Jaden Reed being out is going to allow Matthew Golden to be Matthew Golden.
Yeah, and he played much better this week too. But my thing is, like I said, it's
what I'm going to say is
him,
that the game went into overtime, and they ended in a tie. So it doesn't really help the record at all.
No.
It doesn't give them a loss, but it doesn't give them the win that we all thought they were going to have.
They need to change the format to the college football format for overtime.
I agree. I think that having the format that they have, well, no, hold on. Well, what I think should happen, right, is they need to, what they do in the playoffs, right, how the game can end in a tie, and you go to overtime, and each team gets a possession no matter if a touchdown is scored or not. I think they should do that in the regular season as well. But what happens is, right, they need to give each team a possession. If one team scores and the other team doesn't, game's over.
Obviously.
If both teams score, whether it be a field goal and a touchdown or a touchdown each, then they go to college overtime. They let them have a full drive, and then if both teams score off the drive and it's still tied, then you bring them to the 25-yard line.
Well, to be honest with you, I wouldn't mind that. All I'm saying is, for the sake of it, is
get rid of
you should
ties.
not have games ending in ties, number one. And to be honest with you, get rid of the game clock. If you're going to do an overtime, let them keep going back and forth until somebody loses. The fans would love it too.
Then if they do that, then they don't need to bring them to the 25. But I feel like that would be smarter. So
I think you could start with the long drive first, and if both teams score, then go to the 25 back and forth. I think that's what you're saying.
Yeah,
now.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
That would be brilliant. But just the games ending
NFL,
in a tie is stupid.
If you wind up doing that, I deserve a royalty check. They
ain't giving you squat.
No, I know they won't. I know they won't.
Okay.
But now, Monday night.
There wasn't really much to talk about in these games except for two things.
Battle of the mid.
It was battle of mid, but we did see two things that I want to really talk about. Was the return of Darren Waller in the game, obviously between Miami and the Jets, because that other game between the Broncos and Bengals was an absolute snooze fest.
Darren Waller scored twice within the span of 30 minutes, which is more touchdowns caught as a Dolphin than he had with the Giants for an entire season.
Yeah, that's a great stat.
But what I'm more surprised about is his statement he made after the game. He was asked how he felt during the game after scoring 2 touchdowns, and he goes, "It felt like I was on drugs the whole time." And for him to come out and make that statement knowing his past, I wouldn't be surprised if he wakes up tomorrow with a cup in his locker with a letter that says, "Yeah, you got to take a piss test."
I hope they do, and that would be hysterical if he ends up failing. I don't know. Obviously, I'm not rooting for him to fail it.
I'm not rooting for him to fail it either, but I just think, if you're a guy that is known for, he got cut by the Ravens because he had drug issues. He couldn't, stay clean. Then he went to the Raiders. He balled out for the Raiders. He was injury prone, but he wasn't. He was staying away from drugs, and then he got traded to the Giants, and then, he was still injury prone. He played there for a season, retired, came out of retirement to play for the Dolphins. But
hold on, you forgot he was a rapper.
Oh yeah, he was a rapper.
Top Play. Go check that song out if you haven't heard it yet. It's an absolute banger. Probably going to be on one of the Maddens in the near future.
that him being a rapper, I believe, might be why Kelsey Plum left him.
I wouldn't be surprised if she did, because he good God. But
another thing from that game is we might have seen the last play of Tyreek Hill's career.
See, I don't know if it's his career. It could be.
No, he's 31 years old. He dislocated his knee and also tore several ligaments in his ACL and MCL. at that age, it's very unlikely that – I'm not saying – because Tyreek Hill, knowing him, he's going to get the surgery. Mm-hmm. He's going to recover. He's still going to be an amazing athlete. But I don't know if there's going to be any teams that are going to be willing to take the chance on him
I don't know.
coming back. That's why I said it might be the last play of his career. If it is, he had an amazing career. He's another one who I also does think have CTE.
Oh, he's a nutcase. But hell of an athlete, though.
Hell of an athlete. I'm just going to touch upon this quickly. I'm not going to say anything about it. But when the Dolphins played on Thursday night against the Bills?
Yeah, the prior Thursday, yeah.
What was said about him should not have been said.
On the broadcast.
What they said about him on the broadcast should not have been said. I get the NFL might be investigating what's going on privately with what happened with Tyreek Hill and his ex-wife. But if you're televising that to thousands, maybe millions of people, you don't bring up the fact that he's under investigation from the NFL. I'm not even going to talk about it because it's not polite. I'm just bringing it up and saying that
it shouldn't have been
the
talked
NFL.
about,
the NFL not doing anything about that being said. Number one, shows that they don't really care about their players that much.
No, of course not.
And number two, that let's say that you were having issues with your wife, right? And you're on the news, and you're being interviewed for something, and then they say, "Well, aren't you under investigation for doing something like this and that?" And you're like. You don't say something like that.
No, it was stupid. Trust me.
Very stupid.
Let's not really get much into that. That was very bad.
I'm just voicing my opinion on that. That shouldn't have been said.
Yeah, no, I know. I agree with you.
Going back to his leg, when you see somebody dislocate their knee, it doesn't look that bad. It literally looked like
his knee was bending the wrong way.
It was. His knee was like this, and then say this was his leg, it was that way.
Yeah, no, it was not pretty. That was one of the most horrific injuries that I can't even say most horrific because I've seen a lot of them like this at this point, even with Nick Chubb doing that.
His was worse than Chubb's, though, I think.
I don't know. It was close because Nick Chubb's leg literally broke.
No, I know.
His knee dislocated and turned around. Nick Chubb's literally bent backwards and snapped. That was... Regardless, I don't even want to talk about it. But prayers up to him. Hopefully he gets better. I don't know if that'll ever change, whether he comes back and plays again or not.
I think he'll want to come back and play, but I don't think there will be a team that will give him the contract that he wants.
No, I agree with that a little bit too. So I don't know, but prayers up to him. That was very horrific to watch.
If it was the last game of his career, I mean, he did have a really solid career. What I don't understand, right, is that he made a big stink about wanting to be paid. He chose to leave Kansas City. Mm-hmm. Then he gets to Miami, realizes that he made a mistake, and he wants out.
Yeah, well, he was actually clapping in the ambulance when he got hurt. So
oh, you saw that video?
Of course I did. Did
you see the one about the people in the car, though, that just saw his face?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then even when he was getting carted off the field, he was
smiling. Yeah, he was.
I don't know if that was because he was CTE speaking, or if that was because he realized he would never have to play with Tua ever again.
I think it's probably a little bit of both, but we'll.
Now we're gonna go into the predictions.
Yeah, we'll try and wrap this up very quick. We're just gonna run through our predictions for the Week 5 slate that we have, and then we will officially close out the show. So for tonight's game, we have the Rams versus the 49ers in Los Angeles. Obviously, the 49ers are a little bit banged up for that game.
No Brock Purdy, no Ricky Pearsall.
No Juwan Jennings, no George Kittle.
No Kittle.
Mac Jones will be starting at quarterback. The Rams are pretty much fully healthy except for, I believe, Tyler Higbee and Rob Havenstein. Both are doubtful to play. That being said, I'm going to, again, the bias is still there, but I genuinely believe it should be the Rams.
I am also taking the Rams.
I'd be very surprised if they lost this game, being that they're down so many pieces. But if the Rams lose, it's a big call for concern because I know the 49ers always play them tough. I'm still going with the Rams. For Sunday's slate, you have the Vikings versus the Browns. That is another early game that is being played, I believe, in London this week.
Is it London?
Or no. It may not. No. Because it was Dublin for the other one. I think that this one's.
This one might be London. Yeah, it is London.
I believe it should be London. I'm almost positive it is. It is London.
Either way, I am taking the Vikings to win that game.
I was leaning more towards the Browns at one point, but seeing that Dylan Gabriel is going to be making his debut start against the Vikings defense that's looking to kind of step up a little bit, I'm going to take the Vikings as well. Then you have the Texans at the Ravens this week. Ravens possibly without Lamar Jackson and a lot of other pieces like we already mentioned. If that's the case, I'm going to take the Texans to win. I think their defense propels them.
We have the Giants at the Saints.
Oh, wait, who'd you take?
I'm taking the Texans.
Okay, there you go.
We have Giants at the Saints. I'm taking the Giants.
Also...
No. You gotta take the Saints. You take. They lose every time you take the Giants.
No, that's not. No, I'm taking the Giants. There's no way they lose to the Saints this week. If Jackson Dart plays any bit like he did, and the defense plays the way that they did like last week, they're gonna beat the Saints. The Saints are not good.
Okay, I agree. The Saints. I don't know.
I'm not taking.
Who's starting for? Is it Rattler or is it Shuck?
It's still Rattler. And like I said, I know that every time I've picked the Giants so far, it's backfired.
But the Saints put up like 30 on the Bills.
I don't care. I'm not going to pick the Saints just for the sake of watching them lose. I'm not doing it. No. I'm picking the Giants. Then we got the Broncos at the Eagles this week.
Oh, it's an easy Eagles.
I think it's going to be the Eagles, but I wouldn't say easy. I think the Broncos defense finally makes a step up this week, and it's a much closer game
now
than
we
people
have
expect.
Cowboys at Jets. I'm taking... Oh, I don't want to say this.
I'm taking the asteroid. No, I'm taking the Dallas Cowboys. The Jets just no.
Right.
It's hard to take the Jets.
I'm taking the Dallas Cowgirls. I don't think that they're gonna. I don't want them to win, but it seems seemingly impossible for the Jets to just. Then again, Dallas isn't that good.
And the Jets are?
No, the Jets aren't.
No, they are not. I'm telling you, I just think that the Cowboys their offense is good enough to at least provide them with some points. I don't know that the Jets are going to be able to do that, even against the Cowboys defense.
The Raiders at the Colts.
Colts are going to get their get back this week after
Indiana
losing.
Jones is going to have a bounce back game.
Yep, I agree. I think the Colts are just they're a lot better of a team than even I expected. I thought the Rams were going to breeze by them, and they played.
That was a really good game.
They're a tough team, man. They're very, very good. They had the Rams beat in some instances too. So I'm going to take the Colts to win.
Dolphins at the Panthers. This game is going to be a game that I am not going to watch. I'm not even going to try and look for it on like.
I don't even want to watch the recap, let alone the game. I'm going to take the Dolphins to win. I don't have faith.
All right. Let's set a line right here. Over under 5 times the game is shown on Red Zone.
Well, to be honest, it may be a high-scoring game because both teams are bad. So I'm actually going to take the over on that. But still, I
don't know. I might take the under on that one because then again, both teams are so bad to where they won't.
I don't know. I'm going to take the Dolphins, but I don't
know. Well, if the Dolphins.
It depends what Panthers team you're getting.
If they got the Panthers team like they played against the Texans, not the Texans,
Falcons.
Titans.
The Falcons when they beat them 30-0, yeah. But if they get the team that just played against the Patriots last week, they're getting stomped. I don't know.
I know.
I'm taking the Dolphins.
Now Buccaneers at Seahawks. I'm taking the Bucs.
I am also taking the Bucs. They're underdog this week too, but I think they're a plus 160 money line. That may be my lock of the week. I'm taking the Buccaneers this week, even though Bucky Irving's out. I think they're still good enough with Rashad White. I'm going to take the Buccaneers to win that game. I don't think the Seahawks beat them. Sorry.
Titans, Cardinals. Another like mid-off right there.
Well, it's also because of injuries there with Connor and Benson now getting hurt. I'm still going to take the Cardinals. The Titans ain't it, man. The Cardinals at least have some other weapons. Murray's been okay. Marvin Harrison had a better week last week in the second half.
I just traded away Nico and Baker in fantasy and got Judkins, Chase Brown, and Zay Flowers in return. And the kid was like, yeah, like, I'll be fine. My other running back on the bench is Trey Benson. I'm good. The day after the trade went through, Trey Benson. No, yesterday the trade went through yesterday in the morning.
Yeah.
Trey Benson went
onto the IR.
IR immediately.
Yeah, that's a tough draw for him. So, but I think it's fair you taking the Cardinals that game.
I am definitely taking the Cardinals that game.
Yeah. I think that they're still a good enough team. They'll find a way to win. Then you have the Commanders at the Chargers. This one, I picked the Commanders last week.
Jaden Daniels playing?
That's the thing but when we recorded that episode, that was before they officially ruled out McLaurin and Jaden Daniels, and then I found out right when I left here that they were not playing. I would have changed my pick then. If they are playing, it's possible it's going to be the Commanders, but to be honest with you, I still think the Chargers bounce back after a bad loss last week. I'm going to take the Chargers at home. Then you have the Lions at the Bengals. Did you pick?
No, I did not pick. That's why I was trying to.
Okay, you take your pick.
I mean, I just don't see the Chargers losing 2 games in a row.
That's kind of why I picked the Chargers.
But
it depends on, like I said, with Jaden Daniels.
If Jaden Daniels plays, it's going to be a good game, but I think I'd still have to go with the Chargers.
Yeah, I could agree.
I do think this week we will see Ladd McConkey finally ref.
Maybe. I don't know. But if not, it may be time to start panicking about him too. So I have no idea what you're going to get out of him.
Now, Patriots at Bills. I'm taking the Bills.
No, you missed the Lions and Bengals.
Oh, Lions.
So you have the Lions at the Bengals, which
I overlooked the game because it's going to be another 50-point game for Detroit.
All right, at the same time. 1, 2, 3.
Lions.
Okay, that's fairly obvious. I figured that we were both going that way anyway. It's a no-brainer. Then, yes, like you mentioned, the Patriots at the Bills.
I'm taking the Bills.
Yeah, no kidding. I was hoping that you were going to say, well, no. I
figured the Patriots did have but it was the Panthers.
They
I mean,
did
I
put up
can't
42 the points against the Panthers.
Yeah, but it's just the Panthers. The Panthers are ass. I'm sorry,
Nah, they can't do it. Especially the Bills are debuting their new icy white jerseys with the silver logo.
Yeah, no, the Bills are going to win.
Yeah, it's oof.
What I don't understand is that the Panthers gave up 2 first-round picks to get Bryce Young, and then the year after they proceeded to still have the first overall pick in the draft. That makes no sense.
Well, I mean, they still got a lot of stuff to work on other than just him, though. It's not his fault.
It's not really his fault, no.
When your defense lets up 42 points, I mean, even if your offense only puts up 6, it's hard to win a game.
One thing I will say is that Ted McMillan has been amazing for them.
Yeah, and he will continue to do that, and as long as the chemistry develops, he's going to get a lot of targets. That's why I picked him in fantasy football.
Now, Monday night, we're going to have another game that's going to be mid. Because it's either going to go one of 2 ways.
Well, that's like every other game is going.
Well, no, that's not what I mean. Either A, it's going to be an absolute offensive shootout between Mahomes and Trevor Lawrence, or B, the Jaguars are not going to play great, and they're going to play how they usually play, which is kind of mid football, and the Chiefs are going to play down to their level. It's either going to be a really close game where the Chiefs win, or the Chiefs are going to play down to their level, and whatever team scores late in the game is going to win.
I'm still taking the Chiefs.
I'm taking the Chiefs, but I'm saying you could say that we can come back to that next week.
I agree, because I did take what did I tell you about the Jaguars last week? I told you they were going to beat the 49ers too. I took them on my thing. I'm almost positive I did.
You did.
And the Jaguars are not as bad as people are thinking, too. They just need to get going and play the football that we know. ETN has looked a lot better now. The only thing that they really need to get going now
Travis Hunter.
No, someone big. Brian Thomas Jr. needs to wake it up because he has been very, very average and below average. I know you keep sleeping on him. He's not a bad player if they target him and get him the ball, but he has just not been able to get any touches. So they are going to need a big game out of him if they expect to win, but I still see the Chiefs winning that game. That being said, thank you guys for tuning into the Straight Outta Stratford podcast, episode number 15. I am your host, Zach, along with my co-host,
Julian. We will see you guys here next week for episode 16.
Peace.